All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. I have some people in person with me and then all of you online. We are recording this to send out to the rest of the 3A North as they join us and as more kids get involved with this. So I'm going to go ahead and start by playing a video. This could be a little bit tricky, so bear with me. Those of you in person, I'm sure you'll be able to hear it off of my computer. But I'm going to go ahead and play you all a short video. I'm going to be really impressed if we get this to work.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Garcia. I go to Indio High School in the Coachella Valley. I come from a Hispanic and Latino community. Culturally, it's always, you're staying here with me, you're gonna be nearby me, you're gonna stay here, you're not gonna go far away. It was always just a dream. Traveling was dreaming. The option of being able to travel was really exciting. Being able to know that there was an actual trip planned to go to Japan and that I might actually be able to go. Being given the okay and the opportunity to go was just amazing, and being in a different country was really cool. I met great people. I ended up making friendships. I got to learn about their culture and I got to learn about how they did what they did and like why they did it. Teachers and adults need to start talking about traveling and making it an option. Because I know I'm very, very grateful for my travel leader. Because if it weren't for her wanting to open that door for us, I wouldn't have gone, and I wouldn't have the traveling bug. I wouldn't want to continue to go to different places, or it would just seem hard to me and I wouldn't like actually be able to do it. I think they need to know that they're giving their kid a chance of a lifetime, that they're opening their door to something amazing and that they're going to be so entirely grateful for it.
All right, so I'm very excited that all of you decided to join us today. We are going to be talking to you about an opportunity to go to Thailand on a service trip in 2025. It is 12 days long, so it's one of the longer trips, and we're going to walk you through every little detail that you need to know. So we're going to talk a little bit about an introduction of who we are and what we're doing. We're going to talk about the trip itself, what the itinerary is going to look like. We'll talk about what's included in the price, who we're traveling with, and then some safety and support, and then how we're going to pay for it and enroll in the trip today. So first, I want to introduce myself. My name is Megan Moore, and I'm the athletic director at Page High School. I'm also the 3A North president. And so my colleagues with the 3A North, we have decided to try to put this together with all of the schools in our region. So the 7 schools that make up the 3A North are represented here tonight on Google Meets and then in person. And we're opening this up to 6 kids from each of our schools. So it's not just Page High School or not just MB High School. It's all of our schools together. We're each taking a small group. And the idea here is to build our service capacity and also to build our student leaders as a whole. So a little bit about who I am. I travel quite a bit. This is not my first EF tour. This will actually be my 5th by the time we go on this trip. So I am not new to taking kids overseas like I was when Yasmin trusted me to go to the Dominican. But so I've traveled all over the world. I'm about to hit 30 countries next year before I turn 30. That's my goal. Been to South America, backpacked through South America, been to Europe several times, and I've taken now 2 groups to different countries with EF tours. I have one this summer, one in the spring, and then yours. So been all around the world. I'm not new to traveling, especially not traveling with kids. So educational travel is very, very different than just traveling on your own. So educational travel, we introduce you to new ways of learning, to develop those innovative skills, to to interact with the world around you that you might not see on a day-to-day basis. But you're also going to get supplemental learning to your academic curriculum. So you're going to be able to develop your passion and see things in a different lens. And so these trips are very educational based. It's not just for fun. Okay. So we will be traveling with EF Tours. They're our educational travel and safety partner. They're an established country. Okay. Not a country. They're established company, and they have headquarters all over the world. So everywhere we go, there will be an EF shop, pretty much. Yep. So they're open 365 days a year. So we will always have access to somebody, and they're accredited just like our school. So I'll talk a little bit about how you can earn credit if you want to. Okay. So this is a service learning experience. So this is different than the for fun trips. This one, we're actually going to a different country to provide service to communities in need. So we're going to be doing meaningful service with established partners. So there will be groups on the ground in Thailand that have these already set up for us, and we just walk into the project. We will learn some leadership skills as we go when we are working with people outside of our language, out of our cultures, right? And then, of course, we get that cultural immersion. So we're going to be near or in communities that we're not used to. Very, very different culture than what we're used to experiencing on a day-to-day basis. So when we travel with EF Tours, you get round-trip airfare. You get all your hotels paid for. You get your food, okay? Breakfast, lunch, and some dinners. You will get a tour director. So our tour director will pick us up at the airport the moment that we land in Thailand, and they will stay with us the entire time, and then they'll leave us when we get on the airplane coming home. So we'll always have somebody from Thailand with us. You'll get transportation the entire time. When we go to different cities, we'll get expert local guides so they can provide that cultural insight. We do get to do some sightseeing and have some fun, so it's not just all work, but then we also get to do the service learning. This will be my second service learning trip, and I'm sitting with Yasmin right here, and she also went on the service learning trip with me to the Dominican. And so if you have any questions about what that service looks like, we can talk a little bit more about our experience with that as well. Now, this is a service trip, so we do get to be immersed into the culture in Thailand and do the service. So we fly in and out of Bangkok. We spend 3 nights there, and then we go up into the mountains. We do some service for 3 nights. We move. I'm not even going to try to pronounce these names. That would just be very embarrassing for me. But you can see we're not traveling too much once we're in Thailand. We stay for 3 nights, 3 nights, and 4 nights, which is pretty nice. But we do our big service project in that one northern region. Okay. All right. So this is kind of hard for me to see. So like I said, we do fly in and out of Thailand and out of Bangkok. So we'll get our tour director as soon as we get into Bangkok. We get to go to a lot of museums and learn about the history. All right. So we will take a second flight up north. And if you can see in this 4th picture, we get to tour some really cool places and see some really cool things. And like I said, I'm not even going to try to pronounce these because I cannot speak Thai. So I'm not even going to try. But you can see it on your screen here. We'll get to go to some markets and see what that looks like in their culture. We'll get to see some really cool sculptures. And we get to go to an elephant park. And I think that's probably one of the coolest things that we get to do. We get to do some work with elephants, which I think is just super, super cool. So on days 6 and 7, we'll get to do a service learning project. And we'll get to learn about what we're doing closer to the time we go, because it just depends what that community needs in that moment. So for our trip that we went on, our very first day, we painted a mural, which was very interesting because none of us could paint except for like 2 people.
Don't forget we went and saw the bridge, the waterfall.
And and then we all had to take a break because we were too hot, so we went to a waterfall. And then we planted trees one day, which was super cool. And then we moved cities and we worked in all girls school because I had all girls with me. So we worked in an all girls school for like 3 days, and it was just the coolest experience. So they will determine what our service project is as it gets a little bit closer. But like I said, 8 and 9, we get to do some more service. And then we go to the elephant sanctuary and we get to work at the elephant sanctuary for a service, which I'm super, super stoked about. I just think that's incredible. And so you can see on that bottom part, we get to have a little bit of fun and do some touring around Thailand for days 10, 11, and 12. So it's a good mix. We work hard. We work really, really hard while we're there, but we also have a lot of fun. So there's a really good balance between work and play when we're on these trips. So like I said, this is probably the highlight for most people. I just can't even wrap my head around what going to an elephant sanctuary is going to be like. I'm super, super excited. We do get to do a boat tour and we get to see some really cool architecture. I've never been to Asia, so this is going to be a first for me. So I'm just beyond excited about this. The food is a really big selling point for a lot of people. Thai food is really good. I'm a little nervous about Thai food, but that won't stop me from traveling. I'm a very, very picky eater. So if you're a picky eater, don't worry. It will get the best of us. We'll figure out a food to eat. So what we have set right now is 2025. So it's not this upcoming summer, it's the following summer. Okay. So it's a 12-day tour and we have it blocked right now from June 5th to the 16th. So if you're a junior, this is going to be after you graduate, and that's okay. We still want to help our kids develop into leaders as you go out into the real world. So we're perfectly fine with you being graduated from our schools. This is not a school trip. It is not associated with any of our schools whatsoever. We have access to it because we're educators, and you have access to it because you're students, but it is not tied to school. Okay? So it doesn't matter that you'll be graduated. Now, the earliest we could leave is June 2nd. The latest is June 19th. It just depends where it falls with other groups. Okay? Now, we're a big enough group where we probably won't travel with another school since there's already 7 high schools going. Okay? Okay, so just some things that you are responsible for outside of the cost. You got to have a passport, but luckily you have 2 years, so I think you have plenty of time to get a passport. Except if you turn 18, it's kind of funny. You got to get one in the correct window, but I can help you with that. You'll have to pay for baggage fees if there are any baggage fees. I'll work with you because we also have to do tips. So as it gets a little bit closer, I'll tell you how much you owe and you got to bring me cash, and it's a whole thing. And then snacks and some meals. Not all meals, just a couple lunches here and there. But I think one of the coolest things with the meals, and this is kind of why I like to travel with EF, is when we did the culture tour, we ate in like people's houses. And it was just like a really like homey experience, and people cooked the local food for us. And it was just a really, really cool experience. They know what they're doing. Never once have I felt unsafe or like I was alone in a country because I had a local guide telling me what to do every step of the way. So like you have this guide telling me what to do, and then I tell the chaperones what to do, and then the chaperones tell the kids. So there's a lot of layers of security. So that's one of the reasons why I really like EF Tours. It's just a really safe, good company to work with. And like I said, they provide all that local support. There's EF safety and incident response teams. So if something were to happen, I know Page High School sends trips out all the time from Page. And they were in Costa Rica a few years ago, and a kid lost their passport. And luckily, EF Tours had a group in Costa Rica. They were able to take that kid and one of the chaperones to the embassy and get a passport. So they have people right there ready to go should anything happen. There are rigorous health standards. So as you know, we're evolving with the pandemic, they're always looking and monitoring, and not just with COVID, but with any health emergencies. They're always watching. And then, like I said, we do have that 24-hour tour director and chaperone team support. So that's probably our biggest asset is our tour director. And if we're lucky, we'll get a funny, good one. So educational partner, it is an educational trip. So you can earn half a credit of high school credit. It's elective if you want to. It is included in this trip. You can also earn college credit. You can get 3 credits if you sign up and do some coursework. And then, of course, it's going to help with that college essay. When you as a student write about going to a service trip internationally as a student leader, that's huge. That's going to set you apart from any other kid applying to the same school as you. So this will really help you get to that place of setting yourself up for success in the long run. And really, when you come home from a trip like this, you come home different. Okay. You get to see new challenges. I mean, we walked through the streets of countries and kids have no idea how to speak the language, and they're trying to figure out how to change their euros to pounds. And it's just a different set of problems that our kids don't experience on a day-to-day basis. You get to see different worldviews. You develop as a person. Kids will get homesick. They have to work through that. And that really helps you grow as a person. And then again, you're going to make a huge difference. We're going over there to do service. It's not just for fun. So a lot of reasons why you should travel like this. So like I said, I'm your travel leader, but each of the athletic directors from the 3A North are going. So there's going to be 7 adults on this trip. We'll get the tour director, and then there's the travel support team. So we have a lot of adults here watching every move that we make.
So I just have to say we had a great experience when Yasmin went with you guys. It was awesome. And I think we never felt like she was unsafe by any means, and she had great experience. So I look forward for her to have another great experience.
Great. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And any parents who have questions, we have a parent sitting here who sent their kid with me on a trip like this. And I remember one morning, Yasmin wasn't answering her phone. So you called me. You're like, what's going on? I was like, she's just sleeping.
I know.
But we have cell signal and there's all sorts of things we can talk through if you have questions. So you have some really good resources. So thank you for saying that. I really do appreciate it.
It was really great.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to do it again. So for our group, we have a peace of mind program. So if something happens and you change your mind, we can go through all of that. But we have the global travel protection too. So if you have to cancel or something is stolen on the trip, all of that is included. You can pay additional to get the global travel protection plus. So you can cancel up to 24 hours. I hope nobody does that. That would make me really sad. But there's a risk-free enrollment period. So if you enroll tonight, you have a couple of days to cancel and you'll get all your money back. But we'll talk through all of the money here in just a second. So this is going to be unique to this trip compared to other trips. So I'm about to show you a price, which is what everyone wants to know, but I need you all to not really look at that price. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you about a couple of ways that you personally can make it happen on your own. There is a scholarship you can absolutely apply for. It is a needs and merit based. That's a great way to apply. You have to apply by November 13th. So I would definitely encourage you to do that. You'll have a customizable tour fundraising page. So it's like a GoFundMe, and you can share it with everybody. And we had one girl on my last trip pay for the entire thing with that, just a fundraising page. However, what we plan to do as a 3A North is we are going to put some of the responsibility on the kids to pay for it. We can't fund it all, but the 3A North is going to put in some money for each kid to go. But our goal here is to provide opportunities for our kids to fundraise at the 3A North tournaments, races, so that way nobody has to pay. So we have 2 years to do this. So we have volleyball coming up. We have cross country coming up in the next month. We can start there. If we start fundraising as a team, like these kids and these parents, and start putting all of that money towards this trip, parents won't have to pay as much. When we go to Window Rock in February to the basketball tournament, it's a massive tournament. 8,000 tickets can be sold at one time, and there's a lot of money to be made. So if we are innovative and fundraise strategically, the goal is for nobody to pay anything out of their own pocket. I can't promise that's going to happen. It all depends on the parents and the kids on what we put into this. But us as leaders, we can't just do all of that. So there's going to be some strategy behind this, but the goal is not make you pay, right? However, there will be a cost if we can't pay for everything. That's just how it is. But with the cost, with all of this, with what I just said, we get our itinerary, everything is planned for us. We don't have to plan a thing. We just show up and have fun, okay? There are payment options. So if you choose to enroll, I encourage you to not do the automatic payments yet, because we'll be paying chunks after our fundraisers, right? If you want to start paying on it, that's fine too, because that will relieve the burden of us paying as a 3A North. However, we want to help you. Safety and support. We have all of those things that I've talked about with EF Tours, what they provide, all the safety and security. And then again, you're just going to learn so much when we get there. And really, I think we learned so much planning it too, and like going through the packing process and how to apply for a passport. Like there's a lot of life skills that you learn that way too. Okay. So here it is. Here are the numbers. So it's $4,800 for a kid, which is honestly not the most expensive trip I've seen. It's a 12-day trip. And remember, this includes airfare, meals, hotels, everything. Okay. Adults, if you want to go, you're more than welcome to go. It's a little bit more for you. It's just straight $5,000. If you start paying on it now, it's $240 a month. You can start paying on it now. That will just chip away. That's fine. I will never tell you not to pay some. However, remember the fundraising, we can knock that price down quite a bit if we really focus in on the fundraising. So those are the numbers, $4,800. Okay. So there's only, this 20 spot is not correct. There's 46 spots. There's only 6 from each school though. That's the problem here. We can't take more than 6 because then the chaperone numbers get messy. So the enrollment deadline is next week. So if you are interested in enrolling, we need you to enroll and pay the $95 enrollment fee. From there, we'll be strategic about how we pay for the rest, okay? But if you are really interested in going with your school, I say school lightly, it's not a school trip, to represent your school, you have to get on as one of the 6 quickly, okay? And there are other Page kids on this meeting, just so you know. It's not just
I had a question about the parents. Would the parents count as one of the 6, or is there a limited
so
number for parents?
that's a good
too?
question. So technically, yes, they would count as one of the 6, but I wouldn't count them. I would count them as an adult. So I would leave it for 6 students.
6
So like if you wanted to go, I would just count you as a 7th person.
Okay.
Yep. But I can only take 6 kids because the chaperone to student ratio is 6:1.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's a really good question. Okay, so this is the QR code to enroll in this trip. There is a link here. I will send out a follow-up email after this with the link, and then I'll put it in the chat, but I just have to walk over to the other computer to put it in the chat. Oh, no, I don't. I can do it here. Okay, so I will put this in the chat. Does anybody have any questions about what a trip like this looks like, the fundraising aspect? Do we need to go over any other part of this trip?
I had another question
Yeah.
about the fundraising thing. Would we have to do like meetings and stuff for that, for us to like come up with something to fundraise?
Yeah,
and everything?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, so the group that decides to go on this trip, I would encourage parents. So like Paige is hosting the cross country on the 21st. I would encourage us as Paige parents to put something together to fundraise on that date. And then that money, the 3A North will just keep track of, and we'll just apply it to our kids as we go.
Mm-hmm.
Tuba City, you have volleyball coming up pretty soon. So I'd encourage Tuba City. And of course, you know, they can come to Paige and help us with the Paige stuff, but we would definitely have to work as a group to come up with a fundraising plan. But the opportunities are there. I can see how much money we can make. There are so many people that come to these tournaments. It's crazy. But yeah, that's a really good question. So we would just have to be strategic about that.
The fee, is it $95 per adult and child?
Yeah, so the 95 is per person.
Okay.
Yeah, and the 95 is non-refundable unless you cancel in the next 2 weeks. But yep, so it's only $95 to enroll right now. Good question. Do we have any questions from our people online? This is like COVID teaching. It's giving me some weird feelings. All the cameras are off and nobody's talking. You were in my class during COVID, weren't you?
Mm-mm.
That was the year after COVID.
I was in your class in person.
Thank goodness. All right, well, I will hang around. I'm going to stop recording. But if anyone has any questions, I'll leave the camera on. I'll be here. But I'm also going to put that link in the chat so that way you all can click to enroll if you're really interested. So thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. And like I said, I'm open to any questions after we're done here. So I hope you all have a good night. And thank you again.